Throwing up that intro card, let's get to it. The map is Wyvern Lake, and we got RTK Vicioussatsuma bringing the Greenskins against VM Crabling and the Lizardmen in round 1 of their best of 3. So, loaded into the map now. Let's go ahead. Oops, I forgot to remove my blocker and display capture. So, here it is, Wyvern Lake, one of my favorite maps in the game. Nice open middle of the battlefield. You got forest on both sides for the players to work with. You got a nice little pond over here in case you want to take a swim after the battle is done and wash all the blood and gore off of you. But here we are. Got Lizardmen and the Greenskins. So let's start with the red player this time, who is not the vampire counts. They are actually the Lizardmen, so disregard that. And go from there. And also I'll update the blue faction too before I forget, and we'll throw some Grim Gore in there because he is the best. So for our red Lizardmen here, we are going to see a front line of Source Warriors with shields. It looks to me like that's going to be all of it, and we're going to have 5 of those Source Warriors. Up in the air, we are going to have 4 Pterodon Riders. We're going to have 1 with Fire Leech Bolas, and then 1 of the 3 regular Pterodons is going to be the Hawk Sentinels ROR. For the monsters, and what in the world is going on here? Oh, okay, that must have been a butt dial from Aerocrastic there. Yeah, he just played. Oops, sorry. Anyway, sorry for the ringing there. We're going to have an Ancient Stegodon along with Mazdamundi's Ancient Stegodon. Mazdamundi will be bringing Banishment, Shielded Yield, One's Apotheosis, Harmonic Convergence, a Net of a Mintok, Cold-Blooded, Sunburst Standard, Hex Waddle, and Greater Arcane Conduit. Now, there is one other leader here, and it's going to be a Skink Chief up in the air on a Pterodon, and he's just going to be bringing himself and his blowgun to start shooting down the enemy with darts. Now, on to the Greenskin Force, which is starting out in the forest, but they don't have any artillery, so I don't think they plan on camping here. We're going to see Wolf Rider Archers. Looks like 3 of them up front. We're going to have 1 and 2 units of Goblins. 8 Peak Looney. No, the Warlord's Boys will be in the center, backed up by 2 Orc Boys. We're going to have another 2 Orc Boys, bringing it to a total of 4. Got Durkit Squigs, Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and some Orc Boar Boys in the back line. Got the 8 Peak Loonies, the Unbreakable ROR Night Goblins. We're also going to have the Arachnarok Queen. Got 2 Goblin Big Bosses, both on foot, both with They Need Stabbing. And we have a Goblin Great Shaman on top of the Arachnarok Spider. Going to be bringing Don't Even Try It with the Crown of Command, as well as Arcane Conduit, Itchy Nuisance, Vindictive Glare, Sneaky Stabbing, and Sneaky Stealing. So an interesting build, and it's going to be, I would say, more than capable of dealing with the Pterodon Riders here. Werner, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good time, and thanks for tuning in, friend. Here comes the first summon of the Spider Hatchlings by the looks of it. And it looks like the Greenskins are just going to content themselves with trading missile fire with the Pterodon Riders to start off. Over here, got the Spider Hatchlings diving in, fulfilling the attacking role, but now they're going to terror out very quickly and get routed in short fashion. So right now it looks like the Greenskins sending out those units and trying to draw the Lizardmen into the forest to fight. And we'll see if they can succeed. Now, he did come out of the forest and the Lizardmen look like they're going into it. We'll see, because the rules state you can't just camp everything in the forest. So I guess we'll have to see if he's going to make any plays to move out here or not. Okay, yeah, here he comes, sending some Orc Boys out of the forest. Just want to make sure he's not just hiding in there with everything, but I think right now all is in good faith, and nobody seems to be complaining on the player side. Looks like the Greenskins may be going for a big flank here. There goes a Banishment. The Banishment doing some nice damage to those Wolf Riders initially, but it's kind of veering off into no man's land. But the Greenskins might be running their large units through it. Oh no! Is it going to do any damage? Wow, that's not doing nearly as much damage as I thought it would, but the Durkit Squig's still going to take about a quarter health off of the top there after running through that Banishment. Shield of the old ones has been popped. The Lizardmen are in the fight. We have the 8-peak loonies shooting out their loons through the Saurus infantry. And now it's a monster mash. It was a mash, a monster mash. Lord Mazdamundi has They Need Stabbing on top of him, Itchy Nuisance, but also Harmonic Convergence to try to counteract some of those debuffs. And right now, Balance of Power looks like it's in favor of the Lizardmen, so we'll see what happens. These Pterodon Riders going pretty much unchallenged up in the air right now. Net of a Mintot going down on top of all of the Greenskin forces. And we'll see what the Lizardmen plan to do here to punish them with that net. Oh, Orc Boar Boys going in for a rear charge, getting netted in place, but the Saurus Warriors are now in a sandwich between Orc Boys and Orc Boar Boys, and that's not going to be good for them. And these Saurus Warriors could break here, but oh, the bombs going down on top of the Orc Boys, doing a ton of damage, and now the Pterodon Riders are actually getting into melee, and it looks like they're going to be able to rout them perhaps. Over here on the left flank for the Lizardmen, the Greenskin right flank, you can see that the infantry are fighting it out. It looks like the goblins are coming around the flank here, maybe trying to get a rear charge into those Saurus Warriors who are pinned in combat. But right now, the Lizardmen still have the Balance of Power. Arachnarok Queen, though, very, very healthy. Wah has been popped. And the Pterodon Riders are continuing to do great work for the Lizardmen here in terms of getting on top of all these Greenskin units. However, looks like the Pahawk Sentinels may have stayed on the ground, tested their luck a bit too long, because now Durkit Squigs and the Orc Boar Boys are in combat with them, and they're losing health quickly. But look at that. Suddenly, the Balance of Power has shifted to blue, and the Greenskins are looking a lot stronger here, as the Ancient Stegodon and Mazdamundi are both very, very low on health, while the Arachnarok Queen is still doing just fine. Goblin Big Boss, or Goblin Great Shaman on top of his Arachnarok Spider is not looking good, however, so I guess we will see what happens from here, but that Balance of Power just had a violent shift, and now it looks like the Greenskins have the advantage. But I don't know. Balance of Power can be wrong, and you know, I've seen it be wrong before. Maybe it's wrong again, but the Arachnarok Queen is really the ace in the hole here, I think, for the Greenskins, unless the Lizardmen can take care of it quickly somehow. But the Banishment there doing a lot of good work for the Lizardmen on top of a lot of the key Greenskin units. You can see the Saurus Warriors winning combat here in the back line. Arachnarok Queen continuing to go after the Ancient Stegodon, and both of the Goblin Big Bosses are still alive. But yeah, right now the Lizardmen need to get the Ancient Stegodon out of there if possible, but I think it might be a little too late for them to survive now. Over here, Saurus Warriors winning against the Orc Boys with the help of some Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech Bolas. Ancient Stegodon is routing, has 379 HP left. Not sure if the Greenskins have anything they can send off to chase it. The Goblin Great Shaman is shattered. And now Mazdamundi is the one stuck here. And this is where the Lizardmen are going to break free and potentially come back or lose it, because if they can't get Mazdamundi safe, then he's going to die. But it looks like the Saurus Warrior infantry line has dived in and may be able to provide just enough room for him to escape into the back lines. They Need Stabbing is on top of Mazdamundi right now. He's turning around to attack the Arachnarok Queen, but I honestly would have liked to have seen him just take that opportunity to escape and maybe come regroup with more Pterodon Riders and the Skink Chief. But now Mazdamundi looks like he's going to go down for the count, because he didn't take that chance to escape, and I don't see him escaping from this combat again. Mazdamundi is now surrounded. Goblin Big Bosses on one side, Arachnarok Spider on the other. And that looks like it's going to be it for the Lizardmen as Mazdamundi falls. I can't imagine anything else will happen from there. You got to pick Dirty 3 times and win 3 times? Hell yeah. Both of these guys do play Skaven. That's a good question. That's a good point. I think they play Beastmen too. Hey, thank you, Zephyr. I'm glad you're enjoying the camera work. You can kite into the tree line. You just can't like sit there with an artillery piece and force everybody to come to you. It's a pretty loose rule in terms of how it's enforced, but it's there to prevent people from just like forest camping, which is no fun for anyone. But yeah, Spider Queen does have Strider. That's a good point, Tesla. So forest doesn't matter there for the speed of her. All right, well, let's go ahead, take a look at the post-battle screen. I mean, that was a really close fight. I thought Vicious was losing it there a few times to Crabling, but then, you know, he was able to pull it back, and I think there was just a few moments there from Crabling where I think, you know, maybe Mazda Moody had an opportunity to escape, and because he didn't take it, I think he got murdered. I mean, the Goblin Big Boss is just really doing good damage over time with the Arachnarok Queen. Good job to the green Lizardmen player, though. Shattering the Goblin Great Shaman, taking magic out of this army is a very powerful move. Itchy Nuisance is something you don't want to be dealing with in big blob engagements, and I think Crabling made a good play there by eliminating him, but it just turned out that the trade wasn't the best in the end because his Ancient Stegodon lost its life in return for the Goblin Great Shaman, and it just seems like the Lizardmen couldn't lose the Ancient Stegodon as much as the Greenskins could lose the Goblin Great Shaman. Let's throw out that intro card, get to the battle. So as you can see, we have RTK, Vicioussatsuma with the Skaven going up against VM Crabling and the High Elves. This is round 2 of their best of 3, and Vicioussatsuma is on match point as he is up 1-0. So let's go ahead and take down that intro card, and looks like the player should be loading in any second here. Also, as always, guys, please let me know if the sound is okay, if the video is okay. Want to make sure you're having a good viewing experience and that there's no technical issues taking away from that. Excuse me. I got a little bit of a burp going right here that it's just sitting in my throat. But okay, enough burping. So, for the Skaven in blue, let's take a look here. It looks like we have a front line of Skaven slaves. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of them up front. Then going to have 2 Skaven slave spears backing them up. Now, for the rest of the infantry and monsters, we're going to have a back line consisting of 4 Clan Rat spears. We're going to have some Warp Grinders for that net ability. Pollet2908, thank you so much for the follow. Other than that, we're going to have what appears to be 4 Rat Ogres. You gotta love these Rat Ogres. Armor piercing, good mass. Kind of a staple unit for most Skaven armies. And then we're also going to be seeing a Hellish Abomination. Where the hell are you? Alright, so 4 Hell Pit Abomination going to be sitting here in the center, causing terror, but large regenerating. We're going to also be looking at the heroes. Now, first, we'll cover the Plague Priest on top of a Plague Furnace. He is going to be bringing Scrying Stone, Pestilent Birth, Vermintide, and the Pestilent Breath that is bound to him for that mount. Have the Bebel, thank you for the follow. We also have an Assassin with Concealment Bomb, Assassin's Trophy, Rival High Talisman, and Slippery, and then Ikit Claw will be leading this army on a Doom Wheel. He's going to have the Brass Orb and Scorch. So, that rounds out the Skaven army. What have the High Elves brought? Up in the air, we'll cover them first. We have 2 beautiful Flamespire Phoenixes diving forward, getting some scouting done, being threatening. 2 Illyrian River Archers firing in that skirmish force. We're going to have 4 units of Rangers going down the center with a Lore Master of Poets supporting them. He's going to have Spirit Leech and Earthblood. We're going to have Tyrion, of all people. He's going to have Sunfang as well as Feint and Riposte. I can't even get to his info card. Yeah, Sunfang, Feint and Riposte, and Heart of Aberhorn. There goes a Pestilent Breath through the Rangers, and now we have some Lion Chariots of Trace diving into combat, trying to make quick work of these Skaven slaves. Alright, second use of Lion Chariots of Trace over on that end too, and now everybody's going after the Hellpit Abomination. And you gotta remember, guys, Both of the Flamestar Phoenixes have fire damage, and fire damage does wonderfully against the Hell Pit Abomination, but I'm worried that the High Elves might have just overextended themselves here, and Crabling may see his Flamestar Phoenixes get killed off here if he's not careful, because, I mean, these guys are surrounded by Rat Ogres. There's a Hell Pit Abomination in here, but, I mean, as I'm saying that, it looks like they're still doing really good damage against the Hell Pit Abomination, so who knows what will happen from here. Plague Priest getting into that combat too, and now we're going to have Ikit Claw diving out after the Lion Chariots of Trace, depending on place, and we have Rat Ogres on the other side, and suddenly these Lion Chariots are going to be in a very, very precarious situation. They are surrounded, there's mass pinning them in place, and I don't see them surviving much longer, and already you can see the balance of power starting to shift towards the red, surprisingly, but I don't know. To me, it looks like the Skaven still have a really strong chance here. Over here, look at that. A Seismic Snare on top of the Lion Chariots of Trace. They got netted in place, and now the Skaven Tide is going to be going over them, attacking them. They're still full health, so we'll see if they can survive or not, but it looks like Crabling, Vicioussatsuma doing a good job pulling in Skaven Slaves to the rear to try to help pin him in place. Now, across the rest of the peripheries of the battlefield, you still have Rangers over here chasing down these units, but it looks like they just got a new attack order or pulling back towards the center. Over here, you have the Flamespire Phoenix fighting against the Rat Ogres, helping out the Lion Chariots of Trace. We still have 3 models, so it looks like the High Elves will be able to pull this lefting flank engagement into their favor. And the balance of power is right back to dead even, everybody. Pestilent Breath going down, doing some good damage. The Rangers in the front line are pretty much all gone. Got a Pestilent Birth going down, so the Plague Monks getting in combat there. Looks like it's about to time out. We have a full health of Rangers now coming into the rear in combat. And looks like the Lion Chariots of Trace are going to continue taking opportunities just to cycle in and out of the infantry as quickly as they possibly can. Rat Ogres are going to start routing here. And man, this is an even fight, I have to say. Hell Pit Abomination is still alive, and you got to remember it has regeneration. It also has a chance to heal itself up when it gets too low on health. So guess we'll see. But oh, look at this! Tyrion is in combat with the assassin, and this assassin may die now. But the Brass Orb going down over here, doing some nice work, pinning these units in place, doing some damage. And the assassin now is routing, and Tyrion and the Flamespire Phoenixes has gone in for an alpha strike on top of the Hell Pit Abomination. Will they be able to pull it off? Earthblood going down on top of them, trying to heal them up. But look at that, one of the Flamespire Phoenixes is routing. The other one not looking the best on HP. Tyrion is still doing just fine, but the Hell Pit Abomination looks like it may be able to sneak out through its own units and live to fight another day. We'll have to keep an eye on it too. Oh, it died! Oh my goodness, the Hell Pit Abomination died. It did not proc Too Horrible to die, and the Skaven Slave Spear Summon is going to come to take its place. But that is a devastating blow for the Skaven to lose that Hell Pit at this stage. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, the balance of power is still in favor of the Skaven in spite of that Doomwheel getting, that Hell Pit Abomination getting knocked out. We're going to see another summon here from from the Pestilent, from the Plague Priest. I can't speak right now, everybody forgive me. But here comes a Sunfang, and ooh! Tyrion's Sunfang just did a ton of damage to all of these Skaven units. Very low armor, and you can just see the mess it left behind in its wake. And, yeah. Flamespire Phoenixes are starting to regain leadership. Got to keep in mind, these guys also have a chance to regenerate. When they get too low on HP, they have a chance to like resurrect themselves, like a typical phoenix rising from the ashes. So, you know, the High Elves still potentially have a chance to win this if they pop those healing procs. Also, Tyrion has the Heart of Aberlorn, so he can heal himself too, potentially. So this battle isn't over, guys. I think this is still a very, very even fight. The Assassin has come back, if you can believe it. Ikit is still around, and the Plague Priest is virtually untouched at this point. Balance of power right back to dead even again. As you can see, it looks like Vicioussatsuma and Crabling are very evenly matched. Chariots going after the Rat Ogres. Lore Master of Hoth is still very, very healthy. And yeah, suddenly the Skaven are looking like they're in a rough spot. Over here, you see 3 Rat Ogres are getting routed off the map. Flamesire Phoenixes are not giving up the chase, as they shouldn't, because eliminating these Rat Ogres is just going to be money in the bank for the High Elves at this stage. And right now, really all they need to focus on, as far as I'm concerned, is removing all peripheral Skaven units. And then at the very end, they just turn around, turn their attention to these units. And without the Hellpit Abomination, I just don't think there's enough hitting power in here to kill Tyrion or the Flamesire Phoenixes quickly enough. Alright, and here it comes. We're going to be seeing the High Elves coming in for another charge. A Spirit Leech going down on top of Ikit Claw from the Lore Master of Hoet. And in come the High Elves. This is going to probably be the engagement that decides the whole battle. Oh, the Warp Grinders are going to tear out before they can throw down a Seismic Snare. Or a Warp Quake. Ikit Claw getting targeted hardcore by the Flamesire Phoenixes. One of them is very low on health, but Ikit Claw is going to go down for the count. There he is. Oh, here comes his explosion. Oh! Unfortunately, the High Elves don't really have any units there that are going to be very susceptible to his little atomic blast. These single entities don't worry too much about explosions. And that's going to be a GG, as Crabling wins with the High Elves to come back to a 1-1 tie game. Yeah, the explosion does a lot of damage to infantry or lightly armored units nearby, but not really to, like, you know, a Flamesire Phoenix or a hero or something. Jake, thank you so much for the subscription. It's been a while, bud. Welcome, welcome. Good to see ya. Man, that was a great match. The High Elf Chariot's doing nasty work. The Flamesire Phoenix is working out in the end. They stayed alive. There was a few moments there where I thought the High Elves were losing their Phoenixes. Impicant Scuba! Hey, buddy! I don't know why it is. It feels like it's been ages, but thank you for that cheer. You are the man, man. The man. Yeah, 300 kill Tyrion. Those Sunfangs were doing vicious work. 316, and people always give Tyrion shit, but keep in mind, he was more than half health this entire game. And you know what that means? Martial Mastery was active on him pretty much the entire game. So he's above half health. He got that Martial Mastery. He's a beast in combat. The Sunfang is a great tool to clean up Skaven chaff. You know, I like this army a lot. Well played to him. And Vicioussatsuma, also don't dislike this army at all. I enjoyed it a lot. I think its biggest weakness, though, is clearly the lack of any ranged power. So if this, you know, for instance, if High Elves decided to go a bunch of archers and stuff, or, you know, a bunch of Illyrian archers even more than they did, then I think this army would really suffer, just because you got to have something to answer the ranged pressure from your enemy. And I don't know if this army on its own as a rush army would be good enough to rush a High Elf army and win. So a great game to both players. I'm happy to see him tying it up. I'm not biased, but I'm always happy to see an ace match. So let's see what happens in the final round. So without further ado, here we are in Schwarzhafen, the tiebreaker, or ace match as it's also known, between Vicioussatsuma and VM Crabling. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Both of these players will be bringing the Tomb Kings. So whoever wins, whoever loses, it's not going to be based on a faction matchup. It's going to be based on who is better with the Tomb Kings. So let's see how this goes. Alright, they're loaded in now, and I'm going to go ahead and start with our Red Tomb King player. It looks like he has a slightly larger army, and actually really slightly, 48 troop count. And he's actually going to have a smaller army. I'm just talking out my ass. So, without further ado, we have Skeleton Spearmen on either flank and 2 in the center. We're going to have Tomb Guard and the Kepra Tomb Guard on the other flank. So these guys dual wield, do magic damage, and have regeneration. Now, for the rest of this army, we do see a Screaming Skull Catapult in the back line. We are going to be looking at a cavalry force of Nehekara Horsemen. Looks like we have 2 over here on the left flank. This is some of my favorite cav in the game. Very, very cost-effective, very, very good mid-tier cav. We're also going to have a 3rd unit of that same cavalry over here on the right flank for the Tomb Kings. For the leadership and the monsters, we're going to have a Tomb Prince here on top of a Skeleton Horse. He's going to have the Wrath of... Oh, one second, I'll have to go double check on it. It's the Rampage ability. Its name is escaping me. We have the ROR Sphinx of Usep. And then we are also going to be looking at Setcher the Imperishable on top of his war chariot with its flaming wheels, led by a 4-horse chariot team. He's going to have the Blessed Blade of Tra. He's also going to have Naru's Incantation of Protection with Jaff's Incantation of the Cursed Blades. Monkey Rogue, thank you for the follow. The Restless Dead and the Curse is going to be on top of him as well. And let me double check what this ability is called. Monkey Rogue, thank you so much for the subscription, man. A follow and a sub right back to back. That is very kind of you. The Curse of Jaff, that's right. Causes Rampage and minus 24 melee attack. For the other Tomb King player in blue, we have Vicioussatsuma. He's going to have a front line consisting of 5 Skeleton Spearmen. And he is bringing the firepower. We're going to have 2 Nekar Horsemen, so 1 on either flank. We are again going to see Necrotechs. So 2 Necrotechs. Both of them are going to have Restore. One of them will have Vambraces of the Sun. The other one will have Stonecutter and this Wrath of the Creator. We're also going to be seeing Setcher the Imperishable, as well as the 4 Ushapti with Great Bows. And Setcher the Imperishable will be bringing the Blessed Blade of Tra, along with Naru's Incantation of Protection, Jaff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, and the rest is dead, of course. Alright, the players are moving forward. Alright, Ushapti the Great Bows opening fire. Looks like they're going after the Sphinx of Usep, and Crabling is doing a good job of cycling him back and forth to try to dodge as much of that incoming fire as possible. And I guess we'll just have to see what happens, but all of these units being very nicely microed by Crabling, as you can see, just zigzagging. Kind of like Rickon should have done in Game of Thrones, but he didn't really understand that running in a straight line from a bow isn't a good idea. So the Tomb Kings definitely don't need to be reminded of that, and they're going to continue to zigzag formation and dodge as much of those bows as possible. But right now, these Ushapti Great Bows is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Infantry advantage is going to be squarely in favor of Crabling, though, so we'll see what happens. I mean, really, this is going to be a matter of, like, once the gap is closed, can Vicioussatsuma continue to win with the ranged firepower? Or is his front line going to disappear so quickly that his Ushapti don't have anything to protect them? Alright, King Nikesha Scorpion Legion coming over here to the Sphinx of Usep. Screaming Skull Catapult continuing to just do that nice little damage, just chipping away at the blue Tomb King forces. The Necro Sphinx over here is taking some significant damage. Looks like Setcher the Imperishable is even going after him right now. Ushapti with Great Bows seem like they're still doing okay right now. Looks like our blue player here, Vicioussatsuma, has been able to win the left flank engagement and is now coming over here to try to finish off the remainder of these Nekar horsemen. Over here, one of the Ushapti Great Bows just got shattered out. Going to see Setcher the Imperishable chasing Setcher the Imperishable, and it's really to see if the Chariot of the Gods or the Necro Sphinx, or what the hell is that called? It's not the Necro Sphinx. The War Sphinx is better as a mount. Which Setcher will perish and which shall remain imperishable like a can of green beans. Over here, there they go, getting a nice attack in this blob formation, and it looks like our blue player is trying to lead the engagement back towards where he has the infantry advantage. And yeah, the Sphinx of Usep not really in the best position now that it's, you know, getting caught up in these spears. The Nekar horsemen trying to pin it in place. And yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, but it looks like Crabling is slowly starting to edge his way ahead in the balance of power now. Now that the gaps have closed, I do think his infantry advantage, just the overwhelming number of infantry he has, is really going to start compounding as the late game begins to approach. Over here, Cetra fighting the Sphinx of Usep. Not going the best for Cetra, but he does have Nehekar Horsemen helping provide some of that meat cushion for him. And it looks like Cetra's going to turn around to run the other way at this point. Realm of Souls, number 3 popping for Vicioussatsuma, giving his units a bit of health, and also going to open up the potential for a summon. Now, the summon went down right there, maybe a bit prematurely, trying to get Cetra stuck there. But at least the Tomb Prince is still stuck here, so we may be able to see Cetra pick up a little victory here against the Tomb Prince. But right now, as soon as the Ushabti Great Bows got compromised, all of the killing power in our blue player's army kind of got knocked out of the game, it would seem. Balance of power continuing to creep further into Crabling's favor. Screaming Claw Catapult continuing to fire away. And, you know, it hasn't been challenged once this entire game. 54 kills, you know, getting some good value just over time. And you got to remember, it does that huge debuff to leadership. I want to say 16, and I can double check or let somebody in the chat let me know if I'm wrong. But that 16 debuff to leadership is essentially going to cause the blue players' Tomb King forces to crumble a lot quicker than our red players' forces. Over here, blue player Vicioussatsuma really trying to get back into this, and now he's attacking the Sphinx of Usep with Nehekar warriors or horsemen and Cetra the Imperishable. And he's doing some nasty damage. Could we see a turning point here? Alright, the Ushabti summon is about to time out, as you can tell by the orangish hue surrounding it. There they go. But now Cetra the Imperishable and the Sphinx of Usep are still really far out of position with not a lot of friendly units nearby. But as I say that, I mean, you look over here and it's just clear the red forces are overwhelming the rest of the other player's army. None of these guys are going to rout, and the Sphinx of Cetra the Imperishable is going to have his work cut out for him, even if he can eliminate the Sphinx of Usep right here, which it looks like he may very well do, guys. This guy is crumbling, debilitated, only 1,300 HP left. So I just don't know. Looks like Crabling is going to retreat with his Cetra the Imperishable. At least that's what I think he should be doing. Here's Incantation of Protection is on top of the Sphinx of Usep, but the Sphinx of Usep is going to be going down for the count in just a moment here, I think. And we'll see if that changes the balance of power at all, but the balance of power right now is still squarely in favor of Crabling. So there goes Crabling, or Crabling's Necro Sphinx. However, the ROR Kepler Guard have come into play, as have some Skeleton Spearmen, and it looks like these Nehekar Horsemen are going to go down for the count. It also looks like the Curse of Jack was thrown down on top of the Necrotech and this unit of Nehekar Horsemen, so they would get stuck in combat with the Kepler Guard and the Spearmen. Over here, we have the Red Tomb Prince still doing okay, and now Cetra and the Tomb Prince are ganging up on Vicious's Lord, and that's going to be a GG in this Tomb King mirror match as Crabling is able to fight his way to victory. Yeah, great win. Faye Peace, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good time. And yeah, let's go check out another battle here. But I mean, looking at the post-battle screen here, you know, it was just a big gamble for the 4 Ushabti with Great Bows. Z-Master, thank you for the follow, by the way. But yeah, the 4 Ushabti Great Bows just didn't get the damage done that they needed to get done for them to win that fight. And honestly, in hindsight, the way I'm seeing it is like, yeah, you want to snipe down large units with the Ushabti with Great Bow, but in case you guys didn't notice, they didn't snipe down any of the important units. The Sphinx survived, Tomb Prince survived, and Cetra the Imperishable survived. None of them got killed by the Ushabti the Great Bows. And I almost think in hindsight, I would recommend, if they're dodging as well as Crabling was dodging with these fast single entity models, maybe just start shooting the Kepler Guard and then start shooting the Tomb Guard and then just kind of like go down the order. Like, because I mean, the Great Bows would be able to kill the Tomb Guard, and the Tomb Guard can't dodge like the War Sphinx or the Necro Sphinx can. So I think if he would have been chipping away at the infantry there, he potentially could have obtained infantry dominance quite easily, because let's imagine these 2 Tomb Guard were killed by Ushabti Great Bows on the approach. Then suddenly it's 4 Skeleton Spearmen against 5 Skeleton Spearmen. It can go south quick, but nonetheless, Crabling pulled it off, did a great job of it. He lost the Necro Sphinx, but you know, in spite of that, he was still able to win the game with his superior infantry. So GG's, Satsuma. I'll see you soon, my friend. You're a great player, one of my favorite players to watch. And Crabling, also a great player and one of my favorites. So always happy to see these two guys face it out in such an even fashion. And let's see what Crabling does next as he progresses through the tournament.